Thanks for joining. You're watching the 13th episode of Health Huddle, and today we are having Wei Shian here, Wei Shian, to share with us his experience in getting the AstraZeneca vaccine that was recently opened for the voluntary registration. And before this, there was a lot of concern surrounding the AstraZeneca vaccine because of several blood clot cases abroad, and people were really hesitant to take the vaccine. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why they opened for voluntary registration. So surprisingly, the slots all got booked pretty fast, right?
Yeah, fully booked. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fully booked on the same day, I believe. So, many people are still waiting for the AstraZeneca vaccine. And, Wei Shen being one of the earlier ones who got his slot last Thursday. So, yeah, today he's going to share his experience with us. So, yeah, shall we start?
Yep, sure.
Okay, so yeah, so like I mentioned, the AstraZeneca vaccine opened for registration just I think 2 weeks ago, around
No,
there.
last Sunday.
Oh, it was just last Sunday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, it felt like, it felt like it was much longer ago. Okay, but how did the whole sign up process for you go? Because by the time I checked in, it was already fully booked.
Yeah, so I think our mostly Minister KJ announced that they are going to have this AstraZeneca voluntary program. Um, I think it opened on 3rd of May, if I'm not mistaken. It was the last Sunday. And then when I look at the news, because people like us, if for the audience a benefit, Malaysia immunization programs splits into 3 big phases. So the first phase was mainly for frontliners. Second phase, mainly for people who are elderly, having chronic disease, and also OKU. And people like us, being in 18 above, relatively healthy, we are mostly going to be at phase 3. So, and just also recently, KJ also said that phase 3 very likely to be delayed due to various reason. So that time when I look at the AstraZeneca program being open for people to sign up, and I thought this might be the best chance for me to get vaccinated right now, rather than wait for phase 3. So of course, I done a lot of different research, being a pharmacist myself, and I only uh, look at data and all the results being published by AstraZeneca. So I made my own decision saying that, okay, this is the risk, um, the benefit outweigh all the risks carried out by the vaccine itself. So I registered for the vaccine, and then I actually entered before the official registration open. So it opened at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. But I actually entered the site at about 11:50 a.m. and I should already book my place at 6th of May, which is last Thursday. And then they placed me on a 9 o'clock batch.
Mm-hmm. So did the confirmation come like really quickly?
No, I think but it comes on Monday, which is about 34 hours after that.
Mm.
So I kept on check my Sejahtera app. So I think in the afternoon, I sort of get the SMS saying that my appointment was booked on 9 a.m. at UM. And then after that, I would just need to click on the confirmation saying that I'm going. And then yeah.
So everything was done through the 𝗪𝗁𝗁
The
appointment dates and all that.
the booking is done on the vaccine.gov.my.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other thing was actually done on my Sejahtera app.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I see. So you mentioned that you did like a lot of research before you decided to sign up for it. So could you share a bit of the results of your research, and why did you choose to just go and take the AstraZeneca vaccine instead of waiting for like Pfizer or Sinovac?
So I ever since the vaccine news started to circulate around ever since last year, so I actually did a lot of different research and study into various type of vaccine, uh, and then also being curious in this space. We are all in life science spaces, so we do have interest into different vaccine. And then right now, Malaysia government has actually have 5 different brands. We have the most famous one being Pfizer. The people would claim a controversial one being AstraZeneca. Just I think yesterday, we also announced that Sinovac vaccine has been started to be into the process of fill and bottle by Pharma Niaga in Malaysia. And then the other two brand which is currently under review is Sputnik 5, which is the one from Russia. And then the last one is CanSino from China. So before AstraZeneca, me personally, I was interested to take, if possible, took the CanSino vaccine because CanSino vaccine is the only one with single dose. The other one was all being double dose. But then looking at the immunization rate in Malaysia, I decided to take the one that I can fully control of, meaning that I can book my date, I can know that which vaccine that I'm going for. So I go for AstraZeneca. Right? So just for the benefit of audience, vaccine right now has three different mechanisms. So Pfizer being the most famous one, they are using a technology called mRNA, uh, which is a very new technology and a very exciting technology using mRNA. Uh, AstraZeneca was using adenovirus, which we call it a virus vector vaccine. And then the recently China one is called Sinovac. They are using um, inactivated virus. So in a very layman term, Pfizer using mRNA, which is they are they inject a genetic code into your body, and then telling your body that to generate a antigen so that we can generate immune response or antibody to fight this antigen. So just like right now, I tell Jane a message, and then when Jane receives this message, she will generate a response. So for example, Jane, your car has been stolen, and then the immediate response from Jane is
Report
uh,
police.
report police or being frightened or cry. This is all the response back to the message. And then this is what um, mRNA technology Pfizer does. But of course, using mRNA technology, one of the major issue, okay, I wouldn't say major issue, one of the major cons is this vaccine has to be stored in a very extreme temperature
Like
because
very, very
mRNA.
cold.
Yep. Because mRNA is a very unstable component. It has to be stored at like negative, I think 60 or 80.
Even
Uh,
during transportation also.
yep, yep. So,
Mm.
so this is one of the cons for mRNA technology. But then, it is a very exciting technology because, if not mistaken, Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine is the first in the world that using mRNA technology.
So
So
how are the others different from mRNA?
So let's say we talk about right now AstraZeneca. So AstraZeneca mainly use adenovirus, which is a cold flu vaccine. Cold flu virus found in chimpanzee. So this vaccine is rather straightforward, meaning that we introduce this virus into your body. Uh, it will not have the ability to cause you any sickness, but then it will tell your immune response to fight me. So when we inject this virus into our body, and then we will generate antigen, and then the antigen will stimulate our body to generate antibody to fight back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually a very simple mechanism. And then adenovirus has been also used in the other vaccine as well. So if you look at Sputnik 5, which is the Russian one, they're also using adenovirus. the single dose 𝗪𝗪𝗀 also using also using adenovirus. So the benefit of using adenovirus is it can be actually done in single dose. So like for example, 𝗪𝗪𝗀 was actually doing single dose vaccine. As for AstraZeneca, a lot of report, if you see, people are saying the longer the second dose for AstraZeneca is actually the highest efficacy or even higher effectiveness. So adenovirus vaccine actually can be done only by single dose. And then lastly is a Sinovac vaccine. So Sinovac vaccine also something very interesting is they are using inactivated coronavirus. So
What
meaning
does
that
that mean by, you mean they actually inject the coronavirus?
yes, correct.
Oh,
So
that sounds scary.
so China has one of the largest sample sizes for coronavirus. So they have been taking coronavirus sample from a lot of different patients, and they choose one particular part of the virus, but they make it inactivated so that it will not cause any harmness to your body, but it will only cause your body to react to create immune response towards the virus, so that if next time you contracted the coronavirus, the body will know how to fight back. So that's why they're using what we call inactivated virus. But then the virus is actually a coronavirus. But for AstraZeneca, we're using adenovirus, which is a common cold flu that found in chimpanzees. Yep.
So
So I
for
think
all
generally
this,
these are the differences between all the different brand of vaccine.
but like because they are all such different mechanisms, and
Mm-hmm.
I think in terms of dosage is also different. Would it actually affect like the mechanism? Would it affect the efficacy or like the efficiency of the vaccine protecting you against the virus?
I think so if you look at a lot of different numbers, like when we talk about AstraZeneca, they can say if uh, after like 3 months or 12 weeks after a first dose, the efficacy can go up to like 80+%. So for example, like Moderna, Pfizer, they claim that based on clinical trial, it can go up to 95%. So I think the percentage, of course, it does matter in some way, but it really doesn't matter whether is it 60%, 51%, or even 99%. The most importantly is to reach what we call herd immunity, is to get the whole nation about 80 to 70% of people get vaccinated. Then we will create a herd immunity, which will eventually, uh, hopefully, can end the pandemic. So, of course, all these brands who eventually has been given emergency use or approval by WHO, they are all safe to use, and they are all effective to fight against this pandemic.
See,
Yep.
okay, so I guess at least we know that the AstraZeneca, despite all of its controversy, it's actually relatively safe.
Yeah.
Although there are a bit of concerns and rumors flying around.
In
So,
in fact, I think AstraZeneca has one of the most transparent result and data, so that I mean people who are more sciencey or coming from a science background, I think we should always speak from the data and the results. So there are a lot of information can be found even on our vaccine .gov.my, our official government portal for vaccine. There's a lot of information can be found over there. So I think of course the risk of getting like blood clot is there, but then the chances are
very
zero
rare
point zero
cases.
zero four percent Yeah.
There are also some rumors circulating around the internet through WhatsApp and other platforms.
Mm.
They were saying like, oh, there are certain things that you need to do before and after the vaccine. So before you went for the vaccine, did they actually tell you anything?
No.
Oh,
So I think I also received like some of the relative might be circulating a picture saying that before the vaccine, like 72 hours or 24 hours, you shouldn't take any medication,
Mm.
or you
Alcohol.
shouldn't
Yeah.
you shouldn't be consuming alcohol,
Mm.
doing exercises, all that.
Yeah.
For me, I'm just living my normal life, drink enough water. So just to clear all the doubts there, there's nothing you can't do before taking the vaccine. And then, so when we arrive at the PPV the places where we get vaccine, while we are waiting for us to get jab, the medical officer who is in charge over there, uh, he took the mic and tell everyone that, thanks for everyone for coming here, to to play a role as a Malaysian to end the pandemic. When you get after you get a vaccine, you just live your normal life. You can drink coffee, you take your bath, you can even go for exercise if you already felt you're okay. So there's nothing you can't do before and even after you get a vaccine. Just
Mm.
live your normal life. I think that's the best way for us, post vaccination.
So technically, all the food restrictions or all the lifestyle restrictions actually they don't really apply.
I would say it's a BS lah.
Mm.
All of it. Yeah.
Okay, but I guess it's just good for your personal choice. If you wanna stay sober when you go for the
True.
vaccine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if by doing that keep your mood better, I think by all means just go ahead. But then,
Mm-hmm.
um, we shouldn't restrict other people from doing what they wanted to do if they already felt they are good enough. Just go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so during your vaccine, since you mentioned earlier that you booked the earliest slot at 8,
Yeah.
so how was the whole process for you? From getting there to getting the jab, and getting your vaccine card and all that. How was the whole process for you?
So my place is in UM. It's in one of the examination hall. So my appointment was at 9 o'clock in the morning. But I decided to drive there 7:30, just to avoid the jam. So when I arrived there, I think there's ample of parking. Um, I remember I was waiting at the entrance at about 8:15 something, and then there's already people lining up. If you see my Instagram, you will see people already lining up. But then they only open up for that particular slot. So let's say you are at 11:30 slots. So if you go at 9, they will not allow you to queue. You can only queue when the time slot has arrived. So I think it's good to prevent like people cutting queue, all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for my slot, that is about 100 people per slot in UM. It could be different from PWDC or the other PVV center. But
Mm-hmm.
for UM, I think one slot is about 100 people. So
Mm.
by around 8:30, we start to queue, and then 8:15 or prior to 9, then we started to enter the hall. Then they will give us the numbers, and then of course we need to scan our 𝗪 So one reminder for people who actually sign up for AstraZeneca vaccine, your 𝗪 app is very, very important. So there are people um, who receive the appointment, but then the appointment doesn't show on 𝗪 app. So it could be your IC number is wrong, your phone number is wrong. All the issue which if you can't use your 𝗪 to show your appointment, they will actually reject you on the spot. So you will need to sort out your 𝗪 detail first. Then they might reschedule you again. So I think for the audience here who sign up for AstraZeneca, please make sure that your 𝗪 app details are actually similar like what you have already registered for, so that when you go on the vaccination day, things will be go smoothly lah. So yeah, like what I said, when I entered the space, it's actually quite comfortable. It's air conditioned. Then I was sitting just wait for my turn to go to a. So the first stage is a registration counter, which I need to show my IC. So I need to pass my IC, and then I need to use my 𝗪 to scan, saying that I'm coming for vaccination. Then after that, I will be given a consent form. So 2 pieces of consent form. I'll take the consent form and then I'll go to another area waiting to see a doctor. So before you get a vaccine, you will need to talk to a doctor first. So during that doctor, I would say a consultation session, um, you can ask doctor any question you want. You can also show the doctors all the medication that you're currently having. You can also tell the doctors all the past medical history you have. Or I also see some people actually bring like their body checkup report or blood test report to show the doctor. And then the doctor will give you the best advice like, if you were to proceed to taking AstraZeneca vaccine, what are the possible outcomes that you might expect? And then, so after your conversation with doctors and you're comfortable to move forward to get a vaccine, then you need to sign your consent form in front of the doctors. Then the doctors will also sign his part. And then once both parties have signed, then you will take the consent form and then wait for your jab. So so after I sign, talk to the doctors, everything, understand all the risks, then I will actually sit on the other places and then waiting for my jab. So then yeah, so I once I've been called for my jab, I enter and then I choose to jab on my left hand, and then I think the jab went quite fast. I think about maybe 1 to 2 minutes, less than one minute. And then after I get my jab, then it also come to another very crucial point where we need to use our 𝗪𝗁𝗃 app again to scan the barcode so that we will be keep track about which batch of the vaccine that we get. So this is also one of the very important steps. That's why 𝗪𝗁𝗃 app is very important during the vaccination process. So after that, then I was given a 15-minute observation time frame. So once I get my jab,
115.
yes, 115.
15.
So there are people who might be getting 30 minutes or even longer. So that really depends on your consultation with the doctors. So let's say I assume someone who might have getting more medication or chronic disease, they might need have longer time of observation time. So for myself, I'm about 15 minutes. So after I get my jab, scan the barcode, and then I'll carry my consent form, and then I will be at the observation area for 15 minutes. So you need to count yourself. Nobody will time you. So once you felt like you're okay, you don't feel any um, uh, uh, abnormalities, then you will take your consent form and then go to the final stage, which is complete your registration. So there, I will need to scan my 𝗪𝗁𝗃 app again to show that I've completed my first dose, and then they will take my consent form, and then after that they will actually give me this vaccination card. I'm not sure if the
It's a bit blurry. Oh, okay.
yeah. So I'll be receiving everyone will be receiving this vaccination card, and then inside it will actually state that we are getting AstraZeneca vaccine, and then our second dose will be within 12 weeks. So
So
behind
they
here,
so they did they like set your second appointment for you, or it's
so my
just
my the second appointment will be set I think after maybe after a while. So right now, I still haven't received my second appointment yet. But then it should be within 12 weeks lah. So yeah. So behind you also see information about what we call AFI, adverse effect following immunization. So if we
meaning side effects, right?
yep. So if we experience any major side effects after 2 to 3 days, then we should actually seek for medical assistance. Yeah.
So
So
usually with all these adverse effects come immediately, or usually it will take time.
so I think it varies among different people. So but in general, I observe my friends who took AstraZeneca vaccine. They will possibly develop some side effects within 24 hours, but most of them actually back to normal like after 36 hours or 48 hours. As for myself, I took my vaccine in 9 in the morning. Then I'm not a person that take afternoon nap. But then that particular afternoon, I took a nap. So I knew that it it very likely is one of the side effects of taking the vaccine is feeling fatigue or lethargy. So I took a nap in the afternoon, and then I also felt quite okay during dinner. The only then only started I developed side effects in the night. So the injection site started to pain. Uh, so I strongly advise people that took vaccine. Uh, the first night when you sleep, please sleep on the other side of, of the injection site. So try not to sleep on the injection site because you might even felt the painful until you can't really sleep well the whole night. So this happened to me. The first night I couldn't really sleep well because of the injection site was quite pain for me. And then so I took the vaccine on Thursday. I think Friday is my most suffering day where I started to feel chill and then fever, headache. So I just took paracetamol, take Panadol, and then fever started to subside. I think late in the night. Then Saturday, I still felt a little bit of feverish, but then it's much more better. So I think for my case, probably I'm a bit more serious as compared to the other people. But in general, I think people are sort of back to normal after 36 hours. Yeah.
So in regards to, because we've heard some people saying that the second dose might have even more side effects or even worse
Yep.
side effects. So what are your thoughts on that for your own case?
So when I do a lot of studies on and research, I think people will say the second dose might even have more side effects. I think this applies to Pfizer, but this might not apply to AstraZeneca or the other brands because the mechanism is different. I think um, uh, mRNA technology, maybe the second dose will have more side effects. But then for AstraZeneca, when I talk to some of my friends who are in UK, they say that first dose was giving them more side effects as compared to the second dose. So I think to me, of course, having immune response is actually good. A lot of people might be thinking um, a lot of the side effects might happen in younger people as compared to the elderly people because young people has a better immune response system, so that we that's why we respond to the vaccine or we say respond to the virus vigorously. So that's why younger people might develop um, stronger side effects as compared to uh, uh, elderly people. So I think to me, I'm not sure if the second dose will give me more side effect, but then I think will be lesser. Like this is my own thought
Mm-hmm.
after doing some readings. Yeah.
So from from your personal experience, plus all your research, that you've done on this vaccine, do you think that people should still be concerned about things like the blood clot, or really serious high fever, all these kind of things? Should that stop them from taking the vaccine?
Um, just you can take this as time for you to uh, take leave to rest yourself. If you haven't take rest for a long time, like for me, I don't think I've ever suffered such a high fever as compared to previously. But then if you talk about the blood clot, we we can never rule out the risk of having blood clot because uh, the risk is still there. But then if you look at the data, it's about 1 in 200,000 people. So meaning that mm, if we touch wood lah, because right now we have about 260,000 dose being given out, meaning that this batch of the AstraZeneca vaccine, we have one person who might be having blood clotting issue. So of course, if you currently is having any um, cardiac issue or heart disease issue, or you're currently taking any medication relating to anticoagulant or that, it's best you talk to a doctor first. If the doctor say the benefit outweigh the risk, I think by all means just go ahead and take the vaccine. As soon as we can vaccine most people in this country, I think the faster we can get out from this pandemic or even get out from this MCO. Yeah.
So okay, I think that's very interesting to know about the AstraZeneca vaccine, given how much controversy was surrounding it since the beginning. So if any one of you have any questions to ask Wei Shian about the AstraZeneca vaccine, do leave your comments below. All in all, Wei Shian, would you personally recommend your friends to go ahead and sign up for this vaccine, or would you think it's better for them to just wait for phase 3?
So I listened to a few interview from BFM. I think this AstraZeneca vaccine was a bit it's actually one of the best could be one of the best case scenario, because it allows people to have the freedom to choose the appointment that they want. So you have your own control. Like prior to this, a lot of people will say, I registered for the vaccine ever since like last year. Like why until right now I still haven't received any appointment or information yet. So now you are given a chance to decide which day you wanted to go for your vaccine, and then you have the freedom to take control of this part, and then you know that what are the things that you are going into. So I highly recommend people who especially the younger people who might be at the phase 3. I think this is the best chance for us to get a vaccine faster. I think KJ will be introducing a new batch of AstraZeneca vaccine very soon, and it might be rolled out to the other state as well. So I think if you are a science believer, I think is actually a no-brainer for you to just take the vaccine right now.
All right, thanks for sharing your thoughts. So to just recap, so Wei Shian has shared his experience with the AstraZeneca vaccine and comparing the different mechanism and dosage intervals for as compared to like Pfizer and Sinovac. And we've also confirmed that there were no precautions for before and after the vaccine. You can just live your life normally. No need to go on any diet restrictions or any lifestyle restrictions before and after the vaccine. And the only thing that you have to be aware of before going for the vaccine would be that possibility of side effects, which may or may not be serious, depending on each individual. So
But
really,
it's
if
but it's
Mhm.
common.
It's common,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, if you have immune response towards the vaccine, it's actually good, meaning that
Mm-hmm.
your body is building up the immunes, the antibody.
That is
So
working.
yeah, so I think when you get a vaccine, you start to have like fever, lethargy.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually very very common, and you should be happy, meaning that the vaccine is doing their work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So yeah, don't worry about all this. It's excuse for you to take a few days off of work or
Yep.
school. And we think that we really need everybody to join in on this vaccination program to really get a herd immunity in our country, and it's only through that we can stop the chain and end this pandemic. So yeah, thanks for joining us today, and we hope you learned something new. And we hope that what Wei Shian has shared about his experience can also help you make a decision on whether you want to go for the vaccine.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks Wei Shian,
Yep.
and
Thank you.
thanks everyone for joining us. Bye.
Bye bye. Stay safe.
Some people might be born with like a better engine. We cannot complain about that, because some people might be, like in terms of intelligence, some people might be built in with a better CPU.